Alzheimer's disease is a slowly progressive disease of the brain characterized by impairment of memory and eventually disturbances in reasoning, planning, language, and perception. It is the most common form of dementia and is commonly associated with the accumulation of amyloid plaques, neurofibrillary tangles, and neurodegeneration. As AD pathology spreads, there is increased emotional and behavioral difficulties. So what is it like living with AD? Here is one of many stories.
People need to know that Alzheimer's can happen to absolutely anyone, just as cancer can. When we were growing up, Mum was absolutely bonkers. She was super, super fun. She was always the first mum to get involved in the kids' sports day. She was so hands-on. I don't remember a day where we just sat and watched telly. Mum really didn't care what people thought, and the more fun we were having, the better. 10 years ago, we started to think something was maybe a little bit off with Mum. At the time, we put it down to a little bit of depression because of my parents' breakup. Then we started to notice more sort of worrying changes, like hitting a lamppost when she's driving their car, or putting odd objects like in the freezer or in the washing machine. We went to UCH and the doctor there suggested Mum did these various verbal tests and then sent her for an MRI, and after that a lumbar puncture to confirm the results which were seen in the scan, that she did in fact have posterior cortical atrophy, a form of Alzheimer's where it is the back of the brain which affects vision and motor skills that is initially affected. She was devastated. She cried. She said she wished there was nothing wrong with her, and she was embarrassed. Within the first year of Mum's diagnosis, she didn't know what day, month, week, year it was.
Have a cold drink?
She lost the ability to read, write and draw very, very early on. They were the three things she loved the most in life. Mum was a fine artist, and for those things to be taken very early was tragic for Mum.
I'd like to go back yet, to go to one of my paintings, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be really nice, wouldn't it?
It would be good, yeah, it would be lovely. It really is heartbreaking to watch someone you love for such a long period of time just change. But the diagnosis definitely brought my family a lot closer together. We very quickly adjusted and always promised that we would do whatever was needed to keep Mum happy. We've learnt it's so important to stay interactive with someone with Alzheimer's and not just treat them as if there's nothing behind the eyes. Laws was always a big dancer. She used to hoik around the dance floor at any opportunity. A couple of times we've been accused that Mum doesn't have Alzheimer's, she's too young. If the symptoms and the signs are there in your 40s, then they're there. And the more research and the more funds we can put into research, the sooner we can find a cure for it. You know that eventually we will get there. I just hope more people look into it a little bit more and really think about how further research could really help stop this happening to other families.
So what can we do about AD? We can bring in the music. There are many opportunities for music therapy with AD, especially given the interest in non-pharmacological therapies for improving quality of life and reducing challenging behaviors. Cognitive function declines as AD pathology progresses. However, receptivity to music is thought to remain until the late stages of dementia. A reason for this might be that music integrates perception of sounds, rhythms, and lyrics, and the response to the sound requires the activation of multiple brain areas. The specific brain areas that music is involved in are vast. Here is a brief summary of what that looks like in terms of music therapy with AD.
I mean, isn't this desire, a desire to awaken another person to what they are, to what they could be, a deep part of being human.
How often does anybody have a chance to affect the lives of a million or more people? I'm hoping people are ready to come along on this journey. Here you go, you hold this. There you go.
We all feel music is magic.
I feel like I'm one with the world.
But for those with dementia, it can be a back door into the mind.
The parts of the brain which are involved in remembering music and responding to music are not affected too much in Alzheimer's disease or other dementias.
Part of the reason why musical memories are so strong has something to do with the way music enters our brains in the first place.
Music has more ability to activate more parts of the brain than any other stimulus. Music seems to be a cultural invention which makes use of parts of the brain developed for other purposes. Not only auditory parts, but visual parts, emotional parts, and at a lower level in the cerebellum, or the basic parts for coordination.
When we are young, music records itself in our motions and emotions. Luckily, these are the last parts of the brain touched by Alzheimer's.
Great job.
Can we hold hands a little bit? Ah, that's better. We're too far from each other.
For the patients with Alzheimer's, it has to be music which has meaning for them and is correlated with memory and feeling.
And by exciting or awakening those pathways, we have a gateway to stimulate and reach somebody who otherwise is unreachable.
In other support for music therapy and AD, there is a study on the short and long-term effects of music intervention in severe AD. In a randomized trial, a musical intervention was compared to a cooking intervention. Emotional states were evaluated before, during, and after the interventions. Music was found to be more effective than cooking in improving emotional states with AD as measured by facial expressions, discourse valence, and mood emotional indices. Other support for music therapy applications in AD comes from case studies. Patient ML was a professional pianist diagnosed with severe dementia. ML was able to play familiar music, but was unable to learn new songs. Patient SL was a violinist who displayed moderate symptoms of dementia and was diagnosed with probable AD. Despite deficits in recall and recognition on a variety of memory tasks, SL was able to learn how to play new music on her violin. Patient EN was diagnosed with probable AD with severe dementia and cognitive impairments. Although unable to respond and sing along with unfamiliar new melodies, Ian was able to respond to familiar melodies, and familiar melodies that were digitally distorted. These case studies suggest that music memory can be spared to some degree in AD. Music perception and production may indeed provide the pathological aging brain with resources necessary to support cognitive abilities in persons with AD. And music creates spontaneity that you cannot recreate in a controlled environment. It takes you to a place where you can leave the regimen and go off in a world that you create and that you connect with on your own terms. A brief summary of the kinds of benefits that music therapy offers is discussed here.
You put it on, you get their music going, and they just kind of melt into this calm. They smile, their feet tap.
If someone's having a behavior, they put the iPods on, and 9 times out of 10, the behavior stops. Then you don't need the anti-anxiety med.
When I hear this melody play.
Can you hear it?
I've been in this field for 34 years, and this is one of the most wonderful things that's ever come out of it.
Let me call you sweetheart.
The Music and Memories program was started by Dan Cohen from out east, New York, And it was his baby to realize that music can help residents with dementia and Alzheimer's. The state of Wisconsin Department of Human Services, they had a grant for enough money to provide 100 nursing homes in Wisconsin with iPod Nanos and with gift cards to download iTunes. Only 10 homes in the state of Wisconsin were chosen for the intensive study, and we happen to be one of them.
The staff's really good about, they know where they're kept, they sign them out, they offer them to them, they kind of see what's going on, make sure that they're kept in position and that they're running.
You like this one?
We have one certain individual up here that loves Elvis, big time. And so you put that headset on and he's rocking in his wheelchair. Here we go.
So we have his iPod.
He has the biggest smile and he's so animated.
You rock out?
It does help reduce their anxieties. The whole goal of the program was to help these residents become more comfortable in their own mind. Because a lot of people with dementia and Alzheimer's, they go back into their early childhood or early adulthood days.
Sounds good.
It just takes you back in your own life. You smell something, doesn't it take you back to your childhood? You hear a song, I hear a song and it takes me right back to my college days, the 70s.
If they're calling out, we get it in place and they're more calm for a period of time. That's showing a benefit versus giving them a medication.
Are you still hearing music?
Oh, yeah.
We're just so excited with decrease in medications, in keeping the residents happy.
Oh, yes. I like it.
It's a wonderful program, just awesome.
I am.
It should become standard in every home. It'll continue. It's been a huge success.
Other benefits are listed here. Of particular interest are increased awareness, non-pharmacological management of pain, anxiety, and stress, promotion of verbal expression, and opportunities to strengthen self-identity. All in all, music therapy is a promising alternative. Music therapy is accessible, easily implemented, and an enjoyable means of complementary treatment, with individualized music offering the most beneficial form of music therapy intervention. The U.S. should use the UK NHS comprehensive model of personalized care as a guide to make music therapy accessible to patients for all kinds of conditions. The implementation of this approach would allow more person-centered care and more personalized therapeutic options. Legislation inspired by the UK NHS initiative should be implemented, and a budget should be established to support the initiative with the goal of including therapeutic use of personalized music therapy as a standard of care throughout the healthcare industry and help build momentum for cost-effective healthcare initiatives including music.